Hello, everybody. All right, happy Veterans Day to everybody, especially those who served our country, and served in defending our country both from within and from without. Um, we're going to, of course, give it a few minutes, give people a chance to come in. So before we talk about what's on tap for tonight, as always, if you haven't already, you guys can like and share the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything grabbed your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, like I said, we're gonna give it a few minutes here to see if give people a chance to show up. Hmm. All right, let's see. Then just waiting around to see anybody else show up here before we get started. Let's see. 2 minutes. I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. I won't forget the men who died and gave their lives to me, for me, and I'll gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. I love her still. God bless the USA. Alrighty then. So with that being said, so let's all right, so now we're at the 3 minute mark, or just past the 3 minute mark. So a good time to start talking about what's on tap for tonight. So tonight we are going to go through one article from Bleeding Fool. With this being, of course, Veterans Day here in the United States, where we honor our those who have served our country. Um, um, we honor those who not only served and came back, but also served those who served and unfortunately did not come back. You know, um, we today we're going to be looking at an article from Chris Braley on Bleeding Fool, looking back to some of the comic book creators who served our country, um, who put their lives on the line to ensure the freedoms we have to, even to this day. So let me just do one more thing here, then we'll probably get to the. All right, and again, a friendly reminder: if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything we talk about today grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the question to the best of my ability. So with that being said, let's pull up the article. Of course, we'll also have this, have the wrestling wrap up in this day and age history as well. So we will have those as well. But let's go and get into the article we're gonna do tonight. This is it right here. Comic book creators who proudly served in America's military. All right, so let's get into this. So, article by Chris Braley, published earlier today. Comic books are the one artistic media that attracts a remarkably high number of military veterans. In fact, many of the comic book industry's godfathers were in the U.S. military, as is well known. Take Stan Lee, for instance. I guess that's supposed to be a picture of him during his time. If I understand correctly, it looks like he was a sergeant at this point. Or Jack Kirby, and even the late great Sid Shores, not pictured. All three served on the Western Front during World War II, meaning they basically served in the fight against Japan on the West Coast here. And that's Jack Kirby right there. But like these imaginative brains, many more authors and artists also served. Joe Sinnott, Navy. Joseph Leonard Sinnott enlisted in the U.S. Navy, where the young man served in a naval construction battalion, the Seabees. So basically, meaning that it was a group that was more dedicated to help building things. Sinnott is best known for his long stint on Marvel Comics' Fantastic Four from 1965 to 1981, and briefly in the late 1980s. Initially over the pencils of Jack Kirby. All right. So, during his 60 years with Marvel, he inked virtually every major title, with notable runs on The Avengers, The Defenders, and Thor. In the mid-2000s, Stan Lee cited Sinnott as the company's most in-demand inker. Sinnott's art appeared on 2 U.S. Postal Service commemorative stamps in 2007, and he continued to ink the Amazing Spider-Man Sunday comic strip until his retirement in 2019, so about 5 years ago. I'm guessing this is Sinnott up here, just for those who... And this is probably Doug Murray, Army. Let's see. Doug Murray served in Vietnam and later crafted what is considered one of the truest depictions of the war through his series, The Nam. Remarkably, Murray was clever enough to stay true to the horrors and ugly sides of war while also keeping the Comics Code Authority happy. So in other words, he was able to really paint the pictures without having them crack down on him. The Nam wasn't pretty and touched on many horrific truths of war, but it clearly hid its punches to get approved for publication. Outside of the Nam, Murray also wrote the Weapon X series, which gave Wolverine his definitive backstory. And here's the next one. Larry Hama. Of course, Larry Hama also, aside from his comic book stuff. I know he had some stuff also on the animation side of it. I think he was part of the G.I. Joe animation team as well. So, after fighting in Vietnam as a combat engineer and tunnel rat, quote unquote, a character that found its way into the G.I. Joe cartoon, mind you, Larry Hama began a career in acting before coming back to his childhood passion, comic books. Not only did he work on The Warlord, Wonder Woman, and Batman for DC, but he earned his place as one of the Marvel greats when he took over the G.I. Joe comics and turned it into the deep franchise fans love today instead of just a line of generic military toys. Again, I think he was also involved in some of the writing for the cartoon as well, the original cartoon, anyways. He also co-created the Nam and worked on titles like Wolverine, Punisher, Warzone, and Venom. And here's another guy. Here's Jim Starlin, Navy. Many of Marvel's space-themed comics come from the mind of Vietnam War photographer and Navy veteran Jim Starlin. After returning home to Detroit, he initially made a living working on cars. Eventually, he broke into the comic book industry with many originals and revisions to existing cosmic characters. Drax the Destroyer, Gamora, and even Thanos were all co-created by him. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's Infinity Stones and the much of the basis for the Avengers Infinity War came from Starlin's creative storylines. So I would say it sounds like much of the Marvel Cinematic Universe owes a lot to Jim Starlin here. Let me just do something here. Let me see. All right, got a few more sent out there. Let's see if any. And again, as always, guys, if you haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer questions to the best of my ability. All right, so here's the next one. Alice Marble, OSS. Before becoming one of the first women to play a prominent role in comic books, Alice Marble lived an incredible life. Not only was she a world-class tennis player, but during World War II, she served as a spy for the American government. So OSS, I guess, Office of Secret Service, I would think. Or she was even shot in the back by a German agent and had a chance to share her life stories through the adventures of Wonder Woman. She served as the associate editor for Wonder Woman and was the creator of the Wonder Woman of History strips. These shorts were page-long bookends attached to the end of each Wonder Woman issue that showcased one heroic woman per issue. Yeah, actually, when I was looking up and reading, some of the DC comics myself. When I was reading some of the issues of like Sensation Comics and Wonder Woman, I had a chance to see some of those too. Those were pretty interesting. Next up here, let's see. Kurt Swan, Army. DC's most respected artist of the Silver Age, served in the Minnesota National Guard during World War II. Kurt Swan was activated and deployed to Europe when his peers discovered his amazing gift for drawing. He was immediately reassigned by his superiors to make comics for Stars and Stripes. After falling in love with a Red Cross worker, who he would eventually marry, in parentheses there, Swan got a job at DC Comics drawing Superman from 1948 until 1986. His ability to convey frenetic superpowers in print that show speed or the powerful impact bubbles that denote heavy punches was heavily imitated. And here we go again. Billy Tucci, Army. Inkpot Award recipient Billy Tucci served in the 142nd Long Ranch Surveillance Detachment, the paratroopers of the 42nd Infantry Division. He may be best known for his modern-day samurai saga, Shi, and have been nominated for having been nominated for 4 Eisner Awards. In addition to his own creations, Billy's DC Comics graphic novel, Sergeant Rock: The Lost Battalion, was awarded the Military Writers Society of America Gold Medal for its depiction of the highly decorated real-life 442nd Regimental Combat Team, which was comprised of Japanese-American soldiers. His award-winning Christmas story, A Child is Born, is an international blockbuster. Bob Kanier, Army. Now I know of this guy's work because this is the guy. For those of you who may not know, this is actually the guy who took over writing Wonder Woman after the Marstons, I guess, sold the character to DC after William Moulton Marston and his wives sold the character to DC and decided to retire. I guess he took over the role. But anyways, Bob Kanier, Army. There was a drastic dip in comic book popularity in the 1950s that nearly destroyed the industry. Only kids and troops read comics, and kids started losing interest. Of course, in the 50s, you had television come into play as well. You had, the advent of cartoons, coming to TV as well. Many memorable series started up in the 50s, including the late 50s with Hanna-Barbera, starting up with like Rough and Ready, Huckleberry Hound Show, and Quick Draw McGraw. So saw a lot of that going on, and of course, Clutch Cargo as well in '59. So, anyways, getting back to this, the day was saved when an Army veteran by the name of Robert Kanier burst onto the scene. He took over Wonder Woman after William Moulton Marston's death, and ushered in the Silver Age of comics. His works include nearly everything in DC that wasn't created during the Golden Age. His artistic baby, however, is one of the military and veteran community's favorite comic, Sergeant Rock. Oh, yeah. Let me see. Yeah. Hmm. Richard Bonk, Marines. Now, this is an interesting one because we just recently talked about Richard Bonk, right? This is a guy who is basically doing the art for for one of Mike Barron's recent works that we just covered the other day too. Trying to think of it. I know it's not Thin Blue Line. I know it's not Private American. I just can't think of the title right now, unfortunately. We just covered it too. Anyways, after joining the U.S. Marine Corps, Richard Bonk was stationed in Heidelberg, Germany, where he was invited to become a member of the six-man USAEUR Color Guard, where he bore the Army flag and its banners. The comic book illustrator and fine artist received 2 Army Achievement Medals for his artistic contributions both in Fort Hood and Heidelberg. Richard Bonk got his comic start as an apprentice for master inker Kevin Conrad, and later made a name for himself at Top Cow and other image studios on titles like The Darkness and Tales of the Witchblade. Then later as an inker on Supergirl, Superman Y2K, Teen Titans, and more at DC Comics. All right, before I continue on here, here's another piece. Eric Weathers here, so you can look at Eric Weathers here. But I do need to step away from I do need to go away from the camera for a moment. I'll be right back. But I will put some music on while I'm gone. All right, I'm back. So, anyways, let's do a little something here. All right, so with that, let's get back to this article here. Let me just do one more thing here real quick. Let me just go. Alrighty then. So here we go. Let's see. Continuing on with the article here. This is Dave Weathers. No, I'm sorry, not Dave. Eric Weathers, Army. Illustrator and letterer Eric Weathers served as an infantryman in the U.S. Army's 10th Mountain Division from 2004 to 2006. He was medically retired as an E4 specialist. So equivalent to like a corporal rank, I believe, but they call him a specialist here. Today, Eric illustrates and publishes his creator-owned series, Battle Brick Road, while also working full-time at All Caps Comics, which is of course a company that is owned and operated by Ethan Van Sciver. In addition to his own series, he's been a prolific freelance letterer for countless Comicsgate and indie comics such as Cyberfrog, Black and White, Flying Fortress, Inglorious Rex, Graveyard Shift, Isome, and many others. And this guy looks like he's a sergeant, E5. Charles M. Schultz. This name should sound familiar to everybody. This is the creator of Charlie Brown, Army. So, Charles Schultz was the creator and cartoonist behind Peanuts, the globally popular comic strip that expanded into TV, books, and other merchandise. In the Army, Schultz served as a staff sergeant, in the 20th Armored Division, so E6 basically. He became a squad leader of a 50 caliber machine gun and later took part in the liberation of the Dachau concentration camp and the occupation of Munich shortly before the end of the war. Although he was openly proud of his service, Schultz admitted that serving during World War II opened him to the horrors of war. He is widely regarded as one of the most influential cartoonists in history and cited by many cartoonists as a major influence. Let's see. Creating genuine, believable, approachable heroes often requires the perspective of someone who has served in the armed forces. I'm sure we missed several other veterans in comic books, but if you know of any we should honor today, please give them a shout out in the comments section below. And if you're wondering why I put Joe Sinnott first, he's a fellow CB. So that's the reason enough for me can do. So I'm guessing Chris Braley also served our country as well. So to all those that were featured in this article, to Chris Braley, to all those who served, thank you for your service. It is much appreciated. With that being said, let's see. Yeah, we still got quite. I'm gonna go through one more time and see if I can try to find anything to see if there's anything that came up since I chose articles. If there's anything here to. Oh, I think that's for the games. Yeah, it's probably for the video games, I guess. Yeah, that's for the video games. Okay. Let's see now. So, and again, as always, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment or ask questions, and I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. We just went over an article, on looking back at some of the comic book creators who proudly served our country. Right now, I'm just looking for see if there's anything. If there's anything here I can maybe comment on or talk about. One more time, as it around the bend, as they say. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's much. Of course, as many of you know, much of the news over the last week, of course, has been much of the celebrities' reaction. We kind of went over some of the mainstream comic book pros' reactions to last Tuesday's election. Um, Granted, we had our fun Wednesday. I'm not planning on talking too much more about that. I think we've talked about that enough. Trying to get back to some happier stuff, but not always easy. Let me just check one more thing here, and then I think I will move on to some other stuff here. Let's see. Oh yeah, nothing new here. Okay. So I guess a couple of updates to kind of go over, at least on the TV programming wise, of course. Of course, this past weekend was the premiere. It was the Toonami premiere of Mashal, Magic and Muscles. Um, of course, 1 week after the premiere of Invincible Fight Girl, as those two shows are now, of course, part of the more recent Toonami lineup on Saturday nights. Hmm. Let's see. So, for those who, of course, are into Toonami, so at least this is the most latest lineup, as it were, that they're focusing in on. So starting, of course, this past weekend, the 9th, and until further notice, this is the current lineup for Toonami for those who are interested. At midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, Invincible Fight Girl. 12:30, 9:30, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific. Mashal, Magic and Muscle, um, at 1 a.m., 10 Pacific, Blue Exorcist, 1:30, 1:30, 10:30 Pacific, One Piece, 2 a.m., 11 p.m. Pacific, Dragon Ball Z Kai, 11:30, or wait, 2, let's see, 2:30, oh wait, 12, 12:30, 1:30, 2, 2:30, 2:30, 11:30, Pacific, My Hero Academia, at 3 a.m. Eastern, midnight Pacific, Rick and Morty the anime. And these are the dubbed episodes, whereas the subbed episodes were aired during its initial run. So these are the premiere of the dubbed episodes of Rick and Morty the anime. So that's coming up. That's what to look forward to on Toonami, and also coming this weekend as MeTV Tunes continue its, of course, its holiday program, its Christmas programming. This Saturday, the 16th. Saturday the 16th, from starting of course at 4 Eastern, starting at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific, Saturday the 16th, starting at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Sonic Christmas Blast will make its premiere, which Sonic the Hedgehog must stop evil Dr. Robotnik from ruining Christmas. Then on at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific, Hollywood Hounds Christmas. 3 dogs enter a singing contest during the Christmas season. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, Yogi Bear's All-Star Comedy Christmas Caper. Yogi poses as Santa in a department store where he tries to help a girl's Christmas dream come true. And then at 2:30, the Yo Yogi, episode that has Yippee Yo Yogi. There's no business like show business, which Yogi struggles to cope with a rampaging bull on Wild West Day in Yippee Yo Yogi. And then the squad sets out to stop the abominable snow dude from threatening skiers in There's No Business Like Snow Business. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, probably my all-time favorite Christmas special, Yogi's First Christmas. Yogi and Boo Boo and Cindy must save Christmas. 2 villains set out to ruin the holiday. Of course, this Yogi's First Christmas initially premiered on November 26, 1980. So this Saturday we got quite a bit of Yogi Bear, but we also have start off with Sonic at at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 Pacific, Sonic Christmas Blast, followed by a Hollywood Hounds Christmas at 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. And then we start our Yogi block of at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 Pacific, Yogi Bear's All-Star Comedy Christmas Caper. Then at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, the Yo Yogi episodes. And then at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, Yogi's First Christmas is all on MeTV Tunes this Saturday, November the 16th. So you might want to check that out. So now we're coming up on 40 minutes here, 39 minutes and a few seconds to the 40-minute mark. So it's probably a good time for us to go through the wrestling wrap-up, as it were. Looking back over this weekend's WWE and looking back over this weekend's, Raw and or not Raw, but SmackDown and Collision results. And of course, WWE is continuing to work its way towards, to Survivor Series, which comes up on the last day of the month here, the 30th, while AEW is doing its, will be heading into Full Gear in a couple of weeks here. So on the 23rd, actually, almost more like a week and a half now. So let's talk about what happened on this past Friday night SmackDown. Some of the stuff that went down there. The show opened up with Bayley defeating Candice LeRae in a singles match. As it was recently announced, the WWE will be adding a women's mid card title, the women's United States title, as announced by Nick Aldis on last week's SmackDown, not this past Friday, but the week before. It's a title in which supposedly will be defended on both Raw and SmackDown. So this could be looked at as a potential contenders match there. The team of DIY of Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa defeated team of Pretty Deadly of Elton Prince and Kit Wilson. In a non-title tag team match, the women's tag team champions of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defeated the team of WE Women's Champion Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, as people are still waiting on bated breath for Tiffany Stratton to cash in her Money in the Bank. Some analysts are saying that maybe they're taking a little too long, dragging that out a bit. As the story may be getting a bit tired. People believe she should be doing it soon. In another non-title tag team match, the Motor City Machine Guns continue their success in the WWE as Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley, having won the SmackDown tag team titles on their first match with the company, defeated the duo of former WWE tag team champions, A-Town Down Under of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, in a non-title match, and that was the main event for the evening, by the way. And also the WWE has brought back, has recently unbanned a move that is considered dangerous, that actually ended up putting Randy Orton on the shelf for a while. The pile driver is now legal in the WWE again. However, they're using it sparingly to try to sell the move as a dangerous move. So let's also now talk about AEW's Collision. Let me go grab that. Let's look back at Collision and some of the aftermath of that and some of the fallout from that. All right, so the opening match of the evening saw the House of Black of Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews defeat the Iron Savages trio of Beefcake Boulder, Bulk Bronson, and Jack Jameson. After the match, FTR came out to confront the House of Black, as it has been scheduled for, I believe it's next Saturday. It might be next Saturday, is FTR will be taking on 2 members of the House of Black to gain entry into the 4-way match at Full Gear for the Tag Team Championships. Of course, already in the match for that, Private Party will be defending the AEW World Tag Team titles against 2 other teams. The only other team that is qualified for the match thus far is Outrunners. The House of Black and FTR will be facing off against each other for a spot in that match, in which FTR came out to ask them which 2 members were going to they were going to be facing, and then that's when Malachi Black and Brody King stepped up and basically confirmed that they were 2. Malachi Black and Brody King have had some success as a tag team on the independent scene as Kings of the Black Throne. They'll be, of course, matching up against FTR to see who goes on to that title match against Private Party. Moving on to the results of the next match. Speaking of which, in the full gear 4-way contenders series tag team match that I previously mentioned, the Outrunners of Turbo Floyd and Truth Magnum defeated Top Flight of the Martin brothers, Dante and Darius Martin, in which there was some miscommunication there, as things for Top Flight of late have been crumbling, as as there's been somewhat of a difference of opinion, particularly ever since, of course, Layla Gray, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush have all been in on the mix there as well. In his continued strive to become one of the guys who gets to face MJF at Full Gear, Roderick Strong defeated the Beast Mordos in the second of his 3 necessary consecutive wins to have a chance to challenge MJF at Full Gear. After the match, of course, Lance Archer and Brian Cage, 2 of the newest members of the Don Callis family, came out and attacked Roderick Strong, which led to a signing of a match on this Wednesday's Dynamite between Archer and Strong. Archer trying to be the one to Archer, as well as AEW International Champion Konosuke Takeshita, being tasked to try to stop both Adam Cole and Roderick Strong in their tracks to keep them from being able to challenge MJF at Full Gear. In a match to serve as a message sender, a match to further set up her upcoming shot at the TBS champion Mercedes Moné. Chris Statlander defeated Ashley Vox in 45 seconds, only to have Moné come out and attack Statlander after the match, pretty much trying to choke her out. Of course, don't think she's going to have that opportunity when they face off one-on-one at Full Gear, as it has been signed that Statlander will challenge Moné for the TBS Championship at Full Gear on the 23rd. Jack Perry successfully defended the TNT title against Action Andretti, which again then led to, after the match, him being confronted by Daniel Garcia. As Daniel Garcia came out to challenge Perry for the TNT title at Full Gear. Perry granted him the match, but basically dropped hints that he may not be successful. But that match has been signed for Full Gear now, in which Jack Perry will be defending the TNT Championship against Daniel Garcia. Garcia, no stranger to gold, of course, having been a 2-time former Ring of Honor Pure Champion. Moving on to the next match from Collision, of course. Nick Wayne got a measure of revenge against AR Fox for when AR Fox and George Strickland attacked him in his home a while back, defeating AR Fox. He of course had his mother and Kip Sabian in his corner. And then after the match, as they further beat AR Fox down, they stapled a picture of AR Fox's father to his head. And in the main event, saw the team now calling themselves the Death Riders, the AEW World Trios champions, defending the title against Conglomeration. So the Death Riders, of course, of Claudio Castagnoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta, defended the titles in the Conglomeration trio of former Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe, former World Television Champion Tomohiro Ishii, and Kyle O'Reilly. Following the match, as John Moxley came out towards the end of the match along with Marina Shafir, which brought out Orange Cassidy, who is challenging Moxley for the AEW World Championship at Full Gear. After the match, after the Death Riders retained the title, it led to a brawl between the Conglomeration and the Death Riders. Hey, Rick, thanks for popping in. Sorry you missed most of the show. I was going over an article earlier about some of the former comic book creators who served in the American military. So anyways, we're just going over some of the wrestling wrap up. Oh, and let me also, with that being said, of course, let me also talk about what's on tonight's Raw, as WWE continues to continues their build towards Survivor Series coming up on Saturday, November 30th, 2024 here. Let's see what's on tap for tonight. On tonight's Monday Night Raw here. From, I believe, Grand Rapids, Michigan. So Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill will be defending the women's tag team titles against Women's World Champion Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They, of course, previously had tag team gold in NXT, and now are looking to add the WWE Women's Tag Team titles to their ranks. So that's coming up on tonight's Monday Night Raw. So now, with all that being said, let's get ready to finish things off by taking a look back at this day in each history, with today being Monday, November 11th. Monday, November 11th, 2024. Let's take a look back at this day in each history. History! So, 98, 74, 2014. All right. All right. So, with all that being said, let's go. Let's get this going here. So first off, we're going to head back 50 years ago today, as on this date 50 years ago today, in a couple of NWA territories. Up in the Pacific Northwest territory, Dale Lewis would defeat Jimmy Snuka to become the new NWA Pacific Northwest champion. And in Vancouver, British Columbia, Gene Knitsky and Mr. Saito would defeat Wayne Bridges and Dan Crofat to become the Vancouver version, the NWA Canadian Tag Team Champions. So on this date, 50 years ago today, Dale Lewis would defeat Jimmy Snuka to become the NWA Pacific Northwest Heavyweight Champion. And Gene Knitsky and Mr. Saito would defeat Wayne Bridges and Dan Crofat to become the Vancouver version of the NWA Canadian Tag Team Champions. As we get ready to move on to the next piece of Niche history here. We move ahead to 1998, which was, of course, 26 years ago today. On this date, 26 years ago today, in 1998, the 35th and penultimate issue of Gen 13 from Image Comics Wildstorm imprint would go on sale on this date back in 1998, back 26 years ago today. It was $250. It was $250 with a 32-page count. Story was "But You Can't Hide," written by John Arcudi, penciled by Gary Frank. Cam Smith did the inking. Lettering done by Bill O'Neill, and Wildstorm Effects did the coloring. So 26 years ago today, the 35th and penultimate issue of Gen 13 went on sale on this date back in 1998. And finally, 10 years ago today, on this date 10 years ago today, I'm sorry, 5 years ago today. On this date 5 years ago today, in 2019, not 10, I thought it was 10, but it was actually 2019. On this date 5 years ago today, Blue's Clues and You, a reboot of the original Blue's Clues show, premiered on Nickelodeon. Also premiering on PBS Kids, Xavier, Riddle, and the Secret Museum premiered on PBS Kids. So Blue's Clues and You, a reboot of the Blue's Clues show, premiered on Nickelodeon. And Xavier, Riddle, and the Secret Museum premiered on PBS Kids on this date 5 years ago in 2019. So with that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. For those, of course, in the States, well, that's probably a good thing to say to everybody. If you know people in your life who served your country, right? No matter what country you're in. Okay, now, granted, I know there's more Veterans Day here in the States, but I don't know if any place else has this specific day is for honoring their veterans. But if you do have a veteran in your life and you have a chance to talk to them, tell them thank you for their service. All right? So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Oh wait, actually, before we go, one more thing. Of course, we'll be back here with more Niche News tomorrow. Also, this Friday, I'll have the metal on with me, as we will be on our on the weekly. Or I'm sorry, not this Friday. Next Sunday. Next Sunday the 17th, we'll be continuing our look at comics that went on sale in April of 1940. We'll be looking back comics that went on sale from Archie Comics. We'll be continuing, of course, going through the Monsconian Menace storyline. So, oh snap! I forgot it was this upcoming Sunday. I was gonna probably remind you anyways on your show tonight. So I hope you can still make it, my friend. I'm reminding you now. So I'm glad you popped in though to say that, so I can remind you. But this Sunday I have you scheduled on. We're going to be continuing as part of it. We're going to be of course, continuing the Monsconian Menace storyline. From what I found out, though, it was only continued through the Shield and Wizard features. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Wait, hold on. Oh, I've been here for most of the show. I've just been doing chores with you, and okay. I'm glad you. Glad you were watching at least. Um, all right. Well, thank you for that, Metal. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.